Hey, it's Patriot Smoothie. Welcome to day 15 of the trial of Tamara Lich and Chris Barber. We are here, we're on scene, we're doing what we need to do, and it's crazy. Today we're going to begin with the civilian witnesses, the 8 Crown witnesses that the defense tried very hard to exclude from these proceedings, but did lose, unfortunately, their application to withhold these witnesses. But I think it's a good thing in the end, because I think it's going to make any kind of appeal on the grounds of basically being found innocent, I think it will make it more difficult for an appeal down the road if there is a decision to find Chris and Tamara innocent, because this totally allows the Crown to follow all the avenues that they want to. And so if the decision does come at the end of the day that Chris and Tamara are so-called let off the hook, then it's good. It's good for the appeal. It's good for the integrity of the entire proceedings. And I think it's going to be very beneficial when the defense gets to cross-examine these witnesses. They're going to be able to talk about things like, what did you see? When did you see it? And it has to be specific. It can't be, I felt this, I felt that. We've seen that with Serge Arpin and other witnesses in the trial. The presiding justice, Heather Perkins McVeigh, has no patience for that. It's fact and fact alone. And when they are giving observational details, they need to be direct. They can't be, my friend told me this, my friend told me that, I saw it on a video. It has to be, you saw it at a specific time, at a specific place, and that's it. You've got to have direct knowledge of what happened. So I think that's going to be very beneficial to the defense's case. None of these 8 witnesses, by the Crown's admission, has ever had any contact with Chris or Tamara. So what kind of evidence they'll be able to render to try and prove the allegations against the accused is up to anyone's speculation. I can't really see what they could offer at this point besides their feelings and I heard horns and this and the other thing. And I think there's going to be a lot of objections as the questions are coming out during the examination in chief by the Crown. There's going to be objections. I know Greenspun, Granger, Miss Magus, and Eunice are going to be able to object dutifully to any kind of hearsay, to any kind of non-probative information, which is going to be the vast majority of it. I feel like this is, but again, I feel like this is a good course of action because
yeah. So you want to exhaust all the avenues, and you don't want the Crown afterwards to have the grounds for an appeal based on something like this,
perfectly,
right?
exactly. And when you're running a trial from the perspective of the judge, you want to run a fair trial and a complete trial. So that allows the Crown to call these witnesses. Fine, do so. But again, the evidence has to be admissible. The evidence has to be legally relevant. The evidence has to be probative. So where it goes from there, who knows? But I can't see an exhaustive list of factual based evidence being submitted by these witnesses.
Yeah, and so obviously the defense will have a chance to cross-examine. Do you think the defense would then want to call witnesses that they didn't have originally planned
so this is another situation, right? Because the defense made it clear, if we're going to have he said, she said, I didn't like the convoy, then they're going to call people who had very different perspectives. And be mindful, there are many people in Ottawa, us included, of course, who totally supported the convoy and thought it was a great thing. It was a loving event with lots of support and a totally lawful protest. That's our perspective. So the defense made it clear from the beginning, if we're going to call these sort of witnesses who are going to talk to their experience and how much they hate the convoy and the noise, they're going to call people who live there as well, who had a fantastic time, who are more than willing to come and testify about their positive experiences during the convoy, having been a center town or a direct downtown resident. And during the convoy itself, we know there's over 100 different affidavits during the convoy from Ottawa residents who were benefiting from the convoy, including plenty of local businesses.
Yeah, I was just going to say businesses as well. There's some that did more business than they've done in years. I mean, or ever possibly.
Well, let's look at the situation in Ottawa factually at the time of the convoy, and I'm sure the defense will bring this up. But at the time, the police and other authorities were instructing these restaurants to close, or basically scaring the bejeebus out of them, saying things like, we can't guarantee your safety, and basically compelling them. And so the businesses that did stay open were crazy busy. The thing is that a lot of the people coming didn't want to wear masks, so they'd have to, that was the trade-off. But if you could handle people being around you
It's also like leading up to that, it shouldn't be lost on people that we were under a lockdown. Like almost everything around was closed, leading right up. Like they kind of started trying to open. So it's not like these businesses were open and thriving and doing some sort of thing.
No.
They were dead and closed, or dying and closed.
Business was way down. Good point, Chris. So business was way down, and then the authorities, as the convoy was approaching, was like, listen, we can't guarantee your safety, or actually asked them to close. I've heard that they've asked them to close directly, but I haven't really seen that for my own self. I'll have to look that up again, but definitely leading towards persuading them to close. So that's going to be heard in court too. For the business witnesses, I believe there may be one or two witnesses who are going to testify against Chris and Tamara who come from the business perspective. But for those witnesses, it's going to be very interesting when the defense produces receipts that businesses who stayed open did amazingly well, and that authorities asked these aggrieved businesses to close, or more or less, or persuaded them to do so. So it's going to be interesting. So that's the plan. Today's Thursday, day 15. We're going to be hearing from these 8 Crown witnesses. The admissions to argument, Justice Perkins McVeigh yesterday ruling that these 8 witnesses can be called. Again, I think it's a good thing. It kind of broadens the perspective of the trial, and it protects the integrity of the trial down the road. So I think this is a good outcome, and the defense will be at liberty to call other witnesses that they didn't plan to, like you said, who are going to speak to just like basically experience. It depends on how far these witnesses go. I imagine that Justice Perkins McVeigh is going to be very rigid in her gatekeeping of the proceeding to make sure that it's only directly relevant information. But if this gets off the rails, as we hear, I can imagine the defense calling more and more impact type witnesses to speak to the amazing experience they had during the Freedom Convoy. So that's what we're looking forward to today, and as well for day 16 tomorrow, I believe, as well, will be these 8 witnesses, depending on how things go.
Should be interesting.
And then next week, I think it's the police PLT witnesses, and then after that, everything's up in the air. I feel like I don't even want to give you a prediction of what's going to happen, because we've seen the predicted schedule change so many times, and still, even yesterday, listening in on the housekeeping at the end of the day, they don't really know what the schedule is. Like everyone has conflicts on different days.
There's a lot of parties involved too.
The revolving doors are constantly changing. The schedule is constantly changing, so it's very difficult to tell you how this is going to play out. But I will be here with Chris. Have a great day.